Have you ever wondered how you and your business can be seen by more prospective customers and clients? It all starts with building a feedback cycle into your business, marketing, and product. Find out how to market and grow your small to medium business in a cost-effective way
on This Week in Marketing. Hey everyone, I'm Darren Lake and welcome to This Week in Marketing, another podcast by Metigy. Each episode, we answer questions or talk about one specific idea to help you market and operate your small to medium enterprise better. And we do that by making them easy to digest, short, and concise, because we've all got a business to run. We've got our friends Kevin George from the B2B Playbook podcast to take over the next few episodes. Kevin Chen and George Koudenaris are a unique team. They are both ex-lawyers turned digital marketing wizards. And with over 10 years of experience between them, their main objective is to help business owners with proven, detailed strategies to drive demand and grow. Their podcast is the holy grail playbook that any business owner or marketer can use, no matter how early or advanced they are in their marketing journey. Make sure you go and check it out anywhere you can get podcasts or the show notes description. This is part 4 of 5 in a mini-series takeover by the B2B podcast. What you'll learn in this episode, what to do with all the feedback from being so damn helpful, how to use this feedback to improve your business, product, services, and general marketing communications, and so much more. Enough from me, let's get into the convo with Kev and George.
Well, George, as our listeners start to get the helpful content out there based on the knowledge that they got from a deep understanding of their dream customers, they'll generally start to get some feedback on that content, whether that's from readers who are decision makers and are potential dream customers or otherwise. And that's a pretty key juncture in that content journey and moving your B2B marketing journey online, isn't it, George?
Yeah, I think it's at the point, Kevin, where you start paying attention to what people are telling you about your content, how they're responding to it. That's when you can start to create that feedback loop, which continues to fuel your own content and marketing. So every time you create a new piece of content, it's going to be more and more relevant. On the B2B Playbook, every week, I try and grab a coffee with one of our listeners and I talk to them about their pain points, what they're thinking about like our current podcast, what they're thinking about the articles that they're writing. And then I take their feedback and I put that directly back into what we're going to do into the next couple of episodes.
And that gets taken again and put into our content, and the listeners respond to that again, so then you can get more feedback. So in effect, it's kind of a combination of a feedback loop and a two-way conversation, but just staggered out through these podcast releases and conversations that you then have with the listeners.
That's right. And I think it's important to keep in mind that everyone's talking about data. We need to use so much quantitative data. We need to look at Google Analytics. We need to look at how long people are spending on our articles, reading our articles. But the easiest way to find out what people say about your content is literally just to ask them. If they're commenting on it because you've posted about it on LinkedIn, then read those comments. But the chances are when you just start out, you're not going to get that feedback. You're not going to have enough data in Google Analytics to go and make decisions about where your content should go next. Literally just ask your customers, your dream customers, what they think of your current content.
You made that comparison with quantitative data where everyone else is focused on right now, and this lack of attention paid to qualitative data, asking people what they're thinking about the content that you're putting out there, asking them what their pain points are, and then responding to that. And that whole area of underutilized data of the qualitative nature, because that qualitative data gives you really hard to come by context for the quantitative data that you have on hand. You're not really going to understand what people are really thinking consciously. Maybe subconsciously you can tell based on their website behavior, but consciously you don't really know what they're actually thinking in that moment when they're going through unless you ask them. So it's really important to start collecting that qualitative data as well and building that into that feedback loop we were talking about.
Yeah, it's a big move, and it'll be a big move for your own content once you start doing that. And we call this part of your B2B marketing journey Be Seen, and it's the third step. And really, Kevin, maybe we should have called it Be Seen and Heard.
Maybe we should have called it Be Conversing with your customers, but that's a bit too long.
Very, very
Be
catchy.
Seen is the same idea, I think, for our listeners. It is about creating that two-way conversation, but also about taking the feedback and amplifying it in other channels in distributing your content as well, isn't it?
That's exactly right. And I think it's once you have that idea of we know our customers like this content. We know it's helping solve their pain points. It actually makes the role of paid media much more obvious. What do we want to do with our advertising dollars? Well, we want to boost the content that we know resonates and works with our potential customers and put it in places that they're going to be. So it's our way of essentially forcing our helpful content in front of the eyeballs of our potential dream customers.
Yeah, and we're able to target those dream customers with the right profiles a bit better on paid media. And it's funny, George, when we were doing paid media for the bulk of our work and our daily lives, when we were also working with B2B customers, but just focusing on the paid media works, a lot of the times we struggled to get that cut through with just the paid media. And I think that was the missing piece. We didn't have that two-way conversation. We didn't have the feedback loop. It was more difficult when we're in an agency environment. It's hard to talk directly to the customers or even to the internal team that has that direct contact with the internal customers and the internal team. But once we got this idea that you do need a two-way conversation, feedback loop building and feeding that back into the content and then using that as a starting point and foundation for the paid media. And really paid media is just an amplification of the content. Then we really started getting some traction.
Yeah, that's definitely the missing link and probably why some of the people watching this or listening to this have had bad experiences using paid media themselves or using other agencies. Because if you haven't been through the first two Bs, if you're not ready, you don't deeply understand your customers, if you're not out there creating content and getting that feedback loop to keep improving your content, then you're not going to have success with your paid media.
Yeah, it's basically just going to plod along, either because you're going too narrow, too wide, off topic, any of the above, and not really hitting the pain points that your customers actually need content on and will actually help build trust in your brand and eventually come to you when they need your product or services.
Cool. Well, hopefully those two words, be seen, help clarify that.
From Metigy, you've listened to This Week in Marketing. Again, I'm Darren, and Metigy hopes we helped you find more insights and tips into your business. To find out more about Metigy and get a listener-exclusive 3-month free trial, visit us at metigy.com/podcast. And while you're there, go and check out some more episodes. If you like what you heard, please share a link to another business owner or marketer who you think could get something from this. Also, to help us out, it would be great if you left a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. Last, never miss another episode by following or subscribing to us on your favorite podcast player. See you on next episode.
Metigy.